Hello, my name is Kristina, and in this review I'll be discussing the workshop proposal titled Indigenous Standpoint Theory and the Cultural Interface, Storytelling a Decolonising Methodology. Overall, the proposal demonstrates a strong understanding of Indigenous standpoint theory and decolonising methodologies and the importance of cultural safety within community development practice. A major strength of this proposal is that it uses strong academic literature and theory. The proposal draws on key Indigenous scholars to justify the importance of Indigenous standpoint theory and the cultural interface. I think that this strengthens the credibility of the workshop because the content seems to be grounded in recognised Indigenous academic perspectives rather than like a personal opinion. It demonstrates a deep understanding of historical and political context surrounding colonisation and Indigenous knowledge systems. I think another strength of the workshop is that it has 3 clearly defined learning outcomes. The outcomes focus on positioning oneself, decolonising practice, and storytelling as a methodology. The learning outcomes are directly connected to the workshop activities and discussions, which also creates a logical structure for participants. This helps to ensure that obviously participants understand both theoretical concepts and how they apply these in real world community development practice. Another strength for this review is the inclusion of reflective and group-based activities throughout the workshop plan. As an example, participants are asked to write a paragraph positioning themselves before engaging with Aboriginal communities. This is valuable because it encourages self-reflection and critical thinking rather than passive learning. The group discussion around the case study also promotes collaborative learning and deeper engagement with the concepts. One limitation is that the workshop includes a significant amount of complex theoretical content for a 2-hour session. Concepts such as epistemic violence, hegemonic power structures, and Indigenous feminist standpoint theory could be a bit difficult for some participants to fully understand in such a short time frame. This could be addressed by simplifying some of the academic language, reducing the amount of theory presented, and providing participants with some pre-reading materials maybe before the workshop. Another limitation is that while the activities are included, there is a limited explanation about how facilitators will ensure all participants remain engaged, particularly if they are finding it a bit difficult or if there's uncomfortable discussions that might come up. This could be improved perhaps by outlining some strategies for managing respectful discussion in the group and emotional responses and definitely cultural sensitivity within the workshop environment. The last limitation is the absence of a clear evaluation method to measure whether participants achieve the learning outcomes that are included. The proposal might be strengthened by including feedback surveys, reflective journals, a short post-workshop survey, or evaluations to assess participant learning and workshop effectiveness. One gap in the proposal is that it doesn't really clearly explain what prior knowledge participants are expected to have before they come into the workshop. Another gap is that there is limited discussion about accessibility and inclusivity, such as how the workshop would support participants from different cultural or educational backgrounds. There is also not a lot of mention about resources that might be needed for the activities or presentation materials, handouts, audiovisual materials, things like that. Overall, the workshop proposal is well researched and thoughtfully designed. It's a thoughtfully designed proposal that demonstrates a really strong understanding of Indigenous standpoint theory and culturally safe community development practice. The proposal is academically rigorous, it's really clearly structured, it's supported by relevant Indigenous scholarship. The workshop activities encourage reflection and critical engagement, which are really important strengths to have in a workshop environment. The proposal could be improved by simplifying some of the theoretical content, providing some clearer participant support strategies, and maybe including a formal evaluation process of the workshop once the workshop is complete. Overall, the proposal has a strong potential to create meaningful learning outcomes for community development practitioners working with Aboriginal communities.